Let's talk about your dinner for a moment. Take a look at what's on your plate tonight. The fresh vegetables, the juicy tomatoes, the bread, the corn, maybe even a slice of pie. It all seems so simple, so familiar. But behind every bite is a story far more complex than most of us realize. Each ingredient has traveled a tangled journey, crossing borders, passing through countless hands, and relying on a vast network of farmers, truckers, and workers to reach your table. For decades, North America's food system has thrived on seamless trade between the US, Canada, and Mexico. This cooperation has allowed us to enjoy fresh produce year-round, keep prices stable, and support millions of jobs across all three countries. But now, new tariffs are disrupting that flow, turning what was once a well-oiled machine into a sputtering mess. Trucks are stalled at borders, drivers are left waiting, and uncertainty is spreading through the entire supply chain. These new taxes on imports are causing chaos at every step, from Canadian fertilizer that helps our crops grow to Mexican tomatoes that fill our salads, to the very seeds we plant in our fields. And it doesn't stop there. Some countries are even banning US genetically modified corn, adding another layer of complexity and tension to an already strained system. The first to feel the pain? Farmers, who see their costs rise and their markets shrink, and families who face higher prices at the grocery store and fewer choices on the shelves. It's a ripple effect that touches everyone, from rural communities to city neighborhoods. Imagine trying to run a marathon in concrete shoes. Every step is harder, every mile more exhausting. Now imagine being told it's all for the sake of patriotism, even as you struggle to keep up. Our food supply chain is deeply interconnected. A farmer in Iowa might depend on Canadian fertilizer to grow corn, which is then shipped to Mexico. Each link in this chain relies on the others, and when one breaks, the whole system suffers. Building tariff walls in this system only adds more paperwork, more delays, and more costs. Instead of protecting jobs, it often means higher prices and more headaches for everyone involved. The goal may be to protect American jobs, but the reality is a strained system where farmers, workers, and families are all left wondering who's actually winning and who's paying the price. If the aim is to help American agriculture, why does it feel like we're burning our own fields just to block the sun from our neighbors? In the end, the true cost of a food fight is paid by all of us, every time we sit down to eat. Let's dig into fertilizer, specifically the new US tariff on Canadian phosphate. This isn't just any fertilizer, it's essential for growing everything from corn to soybeans. Imposing a tariff here is like a coffee shop taxing its own espresso beans. Canada, our top supplier, has always provided reliable fertilizer, until now. With the new tariff, every bag crossing the border costs more, and that cost lands squarely on American farmers. Farming groups say this isn't protection, it's just making food more expensive to grow. Farmers already face unpredictable weather and tight margins. Now, they're hit with higher input costs. As planting season approaches, farmers are forced to watch trade bulletins as closely as the weather. This fertilizer feud is a perfect example of how distant policy decisions can hit hardest at home. These fertilizer tariffs aren't just inconvenient, they're a direct hit to farmers' bottom lines. The sudden increase in costs is like a storm that no one saw coming, leaving farmers scrambling to adjust their budgets and operations. Imagine your main supply costs suddenly spiking overnight thanks to a government decision. It's like waking up to find your rent has doubled without warning, leaving you to figure out how to make ends meet. Farmers must now choose, absorb the cost and lose profit, or use less fertilizer and risk smaller harvest. This dilemma is forcing many to make tough decisions that could impact their livelihoods for years to come. To make matters worse, support programs for farmers are being cut and local USDA offices are closing. This means less access to crucial resources and advice, leaving farmers feeling isolated and unsupported. It's like telling someone their house is on fire, then taking away their hose. The tools and support they need to fight the blaze are being stripped away, leaving them vulnerable. This double whammy of rising costs and shrinking support is squeezing farms of all sizes. Small family farms and large operations alike are feeling the pressure, struggling to stay afloat in these turbulent times. Experts warn these policies don't make the market more competitive, they just make it harder for everyone. The intended benefits are overshadowed by the immediate challenges they create. The dream of a thriving American farm sector is being undermined by policies that do the opposite. Instead of fostering growth and innovation, they are stifling progress and discouraging new entrants. The result? More farm closures, industry consolidation, and a less resilient food system. The landscape of American agriculture is changing, and not for the better. Farmers are being asked to do more with less, all while being told it's for their own good. The reality is a far cry from the promises made, leaving many feeling disillusioned. It's a tough sell, and farmers aren't buying it. They see through the rhetoric and are demanding real solutions that address their needs and challenges. When fertilizer gets pricier, farmers use less, and that's bad news for our soil. Fertilizer isn't magic, it replenishes nutrients crops take from the ground. Skimping on it is like draining a bank account without making deposits. Eventually you run dry. This short-term fix can lead to long-term disaster, weaker plants, smaller yields, and depleted soil. Some farmers might turn to more pesticides to compensate, harming the soil's delicate ecosystem. Instead of building healthy soil, farmers are forced into survival mode, prioritizing quick yields over sustainability. Decades of soil conservation progress could be undone, making our farms more vulnerable to droughts and pests. The architects of these tariffs may focus on trade deficits, but they're ignoring the foundation of our food system: healthy soil. By making stewardship more expensive, these policies threaten not just today's harvests, but our future food security. Now let's talk tomatoes. The US is slapping a 17% tariff on fresh tomatoes from Mexico, aiming to protect Florida growers. Florida's tomato industry claims Mexican imports are unfairly cheap, threatening their survival. Mexico denies dumping, arguing their tomatoes win on quality and efficiency. This dispute has turned the humble tomato into a symbol of a much bigger trade conflict. One thing's certain, this tariff will make a staple food more expensive for everyone. The tomato tariff is pitched as a win for American farmers, but what about you, the shopper? With Mexico supplying most of our fresh tomatoes, a 17% tariff means higher prices at the checkout. That cost gets passed down the line, hitting consumers hardest, especially lower-income families. It's a classic case of robbing Peter to pay Paul, except Peter is everyone who buys groceries. The real tension: protect a few thousand jobs, or keep food affordable for millions? As prices rise, we'll see if domestic growers can fill the gap, or if we're all just paying a patriotism premium. This is a real-world test of whether protectionism helps or just costs us more at the dinner table. Canada and Mexico aren't just accepting these new US tariffs. They're fighting back and looking elsewhere. Both countries are making it clear that they won't simply sit by while US trade policy disrupts their economies. Instead, they're taking bold steps to protect their own interests and send a message to Washington. Mexico is doubling down on its ban of US genetically modified corn, seeking non-GMO imports from Brazil and Argentina. This isn't just a symbolic move. It's a major shift in agricultural policy that could reshape the entire corn market in North America. Mexican officials are actively negotiating new deals, and farmers are preparing to adapt to different types of corn. This shift threatens a decades-old trade relationship, as Mexico signals it won't be bullied by US policy. The tension is palpable at high-level meetings, with both sides refusing to back down. Long-standing agreements are now being questioned, and the future of cross-border trade is uncertain. Canada, meanwhile, is strengthening ties with other markets for its fertilizer, reducing reliance on the US-Canadian companies, are exploring new partnerships in Europe and Asia, diversifying their customer base, and investing in logistics to reach distant markets. This strategic pivot is designed to insulate Canadian agriculture from future US policy swings. These moves are redrawing the map of North American trade, creating new winners and losers. Trade routes that once flowed smoothly between the US, Canada, and Mexico are now shifting southward and across the Atlantic. New alliances are forming, and the balance of power in agricultural exports is changing rapidly. US farmers, especially corn producers, risk losing their biggest customers. Many are already feeling the pinch as orders from Mexico and Canada slow down. The uncertainty is causing anxiety in rural communities where livelihoods depend on stable export markets. Meanwhile, countries like Brazil are eager to step in and fill the void. Brazilian exporters are ramping up production, investing in infrastructure, and aggressively marketing their crops to Mexico and Canada. For them, this is a golden opportunity to expand their global footprint. Even if tariffs are reversed, trust is broken and new supply chains are forming. Companies are rethinking their long-term strategies, and many are hesitant to return to old patterns. The damage to relationships may take years or even decades to repair. The once integrated North American market is fracturing, with long-term consequences for everyone. What was once a seamless flow of goods is now interrupted by uncertainty and new barriers, affecting businesses and consumers alike. Trade wars don't just cause temporary pain, they can reshape global commerce for generations. The ripple effects of today's decisions will be felt far into the future, changing how nations do business and who benefits from global trade.